What's up YouTube, I'm back in the still standing garage, and in this video I'm going to extend the brake hoses on my Regal here. Since it does have switches, it does create stress on those brake hoses, so I'll show you in a bit. But the front has a 8-inch cylinder or 8-inch cylinders, and the back it has 12-inch cylinders. I mean, it's not a really high lockup, but it's high enough to create stress on those lines that I don't like. So let me lock it up real quick and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's go. So let me show you right here in the front here. So this is what I'm talking about. This is a hard line right here. I ended up breaking that off. I did buy a replacement. I am going to replace that one. I do have that one already. So pretty much when it's the car is locked up. So this is the other part of it. Let me get it. Let me see if I can even grab it. There you go. So it was pretty much like this, but it was kinked up right here. That's why it broke off right there. So when the hydraulics were installed, they weren't installed by me, but when they were installed, they unbolted this bracket. And this bracket normally goes right here. It goes bolted on right there. But you see when it's locked up how this rubber hose right here where my pinky's at, it's so stretched out that with time it was just gonna snap off. So I did end up buying some longer ones because I want to make sure that this bracket is back on the chassis and that hard line right here is stationary. I don't want it to be moving around. So pretty much it goes like this. That's how it was. So on my last video that I did on the Regal, I did mention that my brakes were pretty loose. And then Pinball Rockstar right here on YouTube, he commented, hey, check out, your line is kinked right there. So then that's what led me to replacing these hoses because I don't like them. So let me show you the back real quick. All right, so this is the back right here. So you see the brake line. I'm not gonna try to stick my hand in there because it does sound like the car's dropping. But you see that right there where my finger's at, my index finger? So that's the rubber hose that goes to the body, and it goes to that union right there. And that's really stretched out. I really don't like it. I mean, it worked out for a while, but you know, I never drive it really locked up like this. So like I said, I have 12-inch cylinders in the back. I never drive it like this. I never drove it like this, but I do want to replace that. I want to have enough slack in there that, you know, with time it's not going to snap off and I'm going to lose brakes here. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to replace that hard line that I showed you guys that I broke for the passenger or the driver side here. So I have the replacement here. I actually bought these from Inline tube. So this was actually a kit. It came with the 2 lines for the front, this little baby one, and then the one that goes from the proportioning valve all the way to the belly and then to the other side. And it came with the 2 lines that go from the master cylinder to the proportioning valve down there. But I am going to replace that right now. I'm not going to show you guys that because it's a real tight spot to get into. Once I replace that, then I'll bring you guys back on and show you how I'm going to replace these hoses, because that's what this video is about. So let's keep it moving. Let's go. All right, YouTube, so I already replaced the hard line. As you can see right there, it's already dripping. I did fill up the reservoir and make sure that there's enough brake fluid in there. So this is the old one. You can see how bad it was bent. Like they just bent it by hand to make it work when they installed the hydros. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna remove the hose right here, and I'm gonna remove the clip. Obviously I need to clean all this up, but like I said, I said it in the previous video, I don't want to spend too much time doing this. All I want to do is make sure that everything's working how it's supposed to, so I could drive it like that. And then as time goes on, then I'm gonna start replacing or tending to the details. So let me take this hose off and then we'll keep it moving. Gotta remove the clip here to put it back on, the new one. All right, YouTube, so there's the old one. It's already off. Here's the new one. Just for comparison, let me see if I could measure it out, stretch it out for you guys. Let me see, is it coming out on the camera? Let me see right there. Yeah, let me hold it. I'm gonna try to stretch it out or line it up to where you can see what the difference is in length. Let me see, is this even right? Is it coming out right there? Yeah. So it's right here. Bring it out. Bring it out. So it's a couple of inches of difference. Let me see if I could extend this right here. So this is from the old hard line right here. So I'm gonna measure from right here, from the end of the actual hose to the end of this one. So it's about two and a half inches longer, which is gonna be enough for that extended, for the lockup. It's gonna be enough for me. All right, YouTube, so another difference between these two lines or these two hoses, other than the length, is the way that they hook up to the bracket. You see how this hose has this little part right here, and then that part right there? Well, the bracket has these notches in it, so that way it could actually lock into it, and then the clip goes into this little groove right here. And this one, see how it's different? So it's different compared to the bracket. So let me show you the bracket. So see the bracket here? Come on. So you see how it looks like that? So if I were to put it in, it goes from this way that way, but I'm just trying to show you guys how it will fit. It won't go all the way for me to put the clip, to clip it onto the bracket. You see how there's no room for that bracket or that clip to actually go through the groove right here. So what I'm gonna end up doing is I'm gonna open up these holes on both brackets, so that way I can make it fit and then clip it on. I don't think it matters how big this hole is, as long as the line is clipped onto the bracket. That's what I'm worried about. That's what I don't want any of this moving other than the actual rubber hose, other than this. So when the car is extended, all I want is this to flex. I don't want any of this moving around like it was before. So let me show you how I'm gonna open these up. Let's go. All right, YouTube, so I got the bracket right here on my dusty Harbor Freight vise here. So I'm gonna open it up with a step drill here, step drill bit. It goes all the way up to 3/4, which is exactly what I need. That's how wide I need it for that hose to go through it, and I could clip it on. So let me drill that out. Hopefully this works out how it's supposed to. Fits perfect. So that's what I'm gonna do. So that worked out real good. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna place the hose on the caliper over here. I have the brand new crush washers that I'm gonna put on the bolt over here. So let me put it on this one first, and then the side that actually has like that angle on this right here goes to the caliper. So I'm gonna put it like this, and then the other one here. Let me put it on there. If I block the camera, sorry. See, come on. There we go, it's going in. All right, now let's put on the modified bracket here on the chassis. I'm gonna bolt it on. So obviously when they took off this bracket, they threw away the bolt or kept it or whatever. So I went to Lowe's, and Lowe's has the hardware, in their hardware section they actually have a couple of drawers for automobile hardware, and this one is actually a 5/16/18 13/16 long. So that's what it is, and it actually fits on there. So everything that I'm using, I am putting it in the description, so you guys can check that out if you guys need to. So this one actually, we gotta bend it just a little bit. It goes in there. See if we can find the hole here. Where are you? All right, so that's tight. Now we can put this line right here. All right, so let's put the clip back on. We'll go get a hammer, or we can use the old pliers that we used to take it off. And that's on there. And there it is. All we gotta do is put this back on there, or put it on there. Where's my line wrench? Yeah, but I don't know how. Let me show you. See how the line actually goes behind the A-arm? The A-arm is fully extended. I mean, I guess I might have to find out when I completely lock it up, because the wheel is in the air, so that means that it's fully extended. But I know with more pressure on there, there's a possibility that it's gonna extend a little bit more. Even though can't show you guys because it's kind of dark back there, but the A-arm's already touching the chassis over here. But you know what I mean? I don't know. So we're gonna find out. It's not touching the A-arm. The hose is not touching the A-arm. It is leaning up against the chassis here. So, and it's fully extended. That's what I didn't want. There's enough flexibility there, as you can see. Look, you see that right there? There's enough flexibility. I just want to see when it's completely lowered too, how far it's gonna bend or where it goes. So we'll find out right now. So let me put on this line. Let's put this line on there. But I like how sturdy it is. Look at that. And that's what I wanted. I want this to be on there sturdy. I don't want it to be hanging around. What is it called? Hanging around and possibility going into something else and binding up and kinking up any more lines. So let's put this. I'm gonna have to bend that a little bit. I don't think it's going on there right, so I'm gonna have to move the camera. I'll bring you guys back on when I put that on, but pretty much I gotta tighten that up real quick. The camera's in the way, so let me tighten that up and I'll bring you guys back on. All right, YouTube, so there it is. It's all tight, looking really good. Everything went on there nicely, so you can see get a better view right here. I'm huffing and puffing because it's really hot in here. I'm all sweating in my arms, all sweating, but whatever. So look at that. You see how, like I said, the whole tire, it's off the rim is off the ground. It's extended, but like I said, when I hit the switch, I want to lock it up and see how tight this gets, or if it even pinches right there, because look at that. I mean, I think it's good. So like I said, all this area right here, it needs to be repainted, it needs to be addressed, but this is what I wanted. I wanted this bracket to be on there, be sturdy, rigid, the hard line be nice and rigid, no moving around. So all right, YouTube, so I'm having some issues right now. I went to go press on the brake, and then it started leaking from right here. It stopped leaking already, but you kind of see like a drop right there, but it's leaking from right here on this one. You just saw that drop. So that's from the other end of the hose here. So I'm thinking that piece right here that goes to the caliper is not sitting right inside of there. So I already tried taking it off and putting it back in, but it looks like it's not, this is not going to be the right hose for it, which sucks. I mean, I'm documenting this so that way whoever is doing this too gets the right part numbers right. The bracket's on there, the hard line's on there, so the only problem now is going to be this this rubber hose. So let me figure that out. I wanted to document that. I didn't want to make this look like it's all perfect, like everything goes perfect. You know, for all of us that work on our own cars, you know that doesn't turn out to be great all the time. You know, it's always that broken bolt or that part that didn't fit right, which is my case now. So let's go. All right, YouTube, so I ended up fixing that leak on the banjo fitting over here, or the banjo bolt. So right here, it's not leaking anymore. I already tried it out. I pumped the brakes again, and it's all good. It's not leaking anymore, so we're good to go. So what I ended up doing to fix it, let me show you on the hose for the passenger side. So earlier I showed you guys this part of the hose, and I told you that the angled part goes up against the caliper. So I did try that on there. So this fitting here, the banjo fitting here, see how it's angled and how it has like a little chamfer there? Well, it's not clearing the caliper, and it's actually hitting, it's bottoming out on the caliper right here, causing it to be at an angle, and it's not allowing the crush washer to be crushed and sealing properly. So that's why it was leaking. So all I ended up doing is I flipped it over. So I flipped it over like this, and this part right here was a part that was up against that is up against the caliper now, and it's crushing everything properly. The crush washers are being crushed properly, and what I ended up doing is I loosened the fitting here and then turned the whole hose around, and that solved my problem there. And another thing is I did torque down that banjo bolt to 22 foot-pounds. I have it right here. So this is my torque wrench here, or ratchet. So the actual socket for that banjo bolt here, it's a 11 millimeter socket, and then I did end up using a line wrench, 11 millimeter line wrench, for the fitting over there where it connects to the actual hose. And then the proportioning valve, when I took it off, it is 11 millimeters over there too, so I did end up using that. And then so yeah, so it's pretty much ready to go. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm gonna go ahead and clean up this whole area with some some brake cleaner, so all that mess that I made right there. And then back here I'm gonna go ahead and clean it up with this, and then I'm gonna lower it right now so we could check it out and see where that hose goes and see if it clears everything, it's not binding up with anything else, and then we'll try to lock it up and see how it goes. So there it is, it's all lowered, it's all the way down. Let's see what it looks like. Put some light right here, see where the hose goes. It's looking pretty good, it's not binding up with anything. Damn, look at that ball joint, one thing at a time. So it's looking pretty good. Let me lock it up right now and see what it looks like, see if I bust anything right now. So let me lock it up. All right, YouTube, so there it is, it's all locked up. It's really nice and tucked away right there. It's not gonna touch anything, it's not touching anything at all. So I'm very happy with that. This is exactly what I wanted. So let me do the passenger side. So I'm gonna go ahead and knock that out off camera, and then I'll bring you guys back on when it's time to do the back hose. Let's go. So before I move on to the passenger side, I did want to show you that the wheel is completely turned the other way, so that way it could pretty much flex the whole hose out, see if it binds up with anything. Let me see if I can get the light right there, but looks pretty good. It's nice and still flexible, still pretty good. So it's not really tight, so it's looking good. I'm really liking the way that it turned out. So just wanted to show you guys that real quick before I jumped onto the passenger side. So let's keep it moving, let's go. This is the passenger side. I wanted to show you what it looked like with the actual line sticking out. So because I know the driver's side didn't have it like that, I had already busted it out. So check it out. This is fully locked up right now in the front, but you see how the hard line just comes down like that? So you can only imagine when it's completely lowered where that line could tuck into. I mean, it's been working out obviously for a while. I drove it like this for a very long time, but I'd rather have it where it's rigid. I mean, a lot of people have it with the line hanging like that, and it hasn't been a problem. It's all good, you know, each person has their own preference, but I'm gonna fix this one up real quick. So let's keep it moving. All right, so it's time to work on the back. I have the car secure already, so that way it doesn't roll away. I do have some jack stands right here on both sides, right there. And I did put a couple of tires right there just in case there's a freak accident, at least catch it. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try to take it off, because I don't think I could give you guys a really good view of taking off the brake line. But if I find anything significant about it that I need to tell you or show you guys to install it or remove it or whatever, I'll let you guys know. So let me take this one off, and then I'll bring you guys back on. Let's go. All right, YouTube, so the back is done, it's ready to go. Let me show you. It's completely locked up right now, so let me show you right there. See how the hose, let me see if I can get a better angle for you guys. I don't want to go all up in there because I don't want to get caught up in something, right? So let me see. So you see the hose right there? It's completely locked up right now. So one thing that I didn't do is I didn't measure it out in comparison to the old one. But as you could tell, if you guys remember how stretched out the original one was. Let's see if this thing will focus. Come on. Yeah, so it's about, I would say about 2 to 3 inches longer, which is perfect, which leaves me room to upgrade the cylinders if I want to, because right now I have 12-inch cylinders, so I might go to 14, but then I might have to get a slip yoke. So I mean, that's a different story. But one thing that I did have to do was I did have to use PB Blaster, which is a penetrating oil for the brake lines there, and then the one on top. So I had to use this right here. For those of you that don't know, this penetrating oil works really good. I sprayed it on there, left it on there for a while, and then I broke all those bolts loose. So the size of that bolt right there, I used I believe was a 11mm socket, and then for the top over there, or I'm sorry, it was a 1/2-inch socket, and for the top it was actually 5/8. A 5/8 flare wrench is what I used, a line wrench, and I broke that loose, and then everything worked out pretty good. So there was nothing that I needed to modify to make it work like I did the front. So the hose actually fit exactly the same. So this is the old one. So as you can see, how I showed you in the front, how it has those special like cut right there, or that hex almost, to make it fit into a bracket up there, and then the clip holds onto it on that little opening right there. So it was exactly the same. Everything fit in. It was pretty much plug and play. So yeah, so it's pretty much ready to go. And I already bled the brakes too. And then one thing happened when I was bleeding the brakes. So what I normally do when I put the car on jack stands is I lock up the car, and then I put the jack stands under the car, and then I drop the car, or I dump the car onto the jack stands, and then that's how I do it. So when I was bleeding the brakes for the front over here, I hit the switch and the pump got stuck on. So that told me that one of the solenoids was stuck open, and the trunk almost caught on fire. So the good thing is that I hit the quick disconnect, and I stopped that from going. So hopefully I didn't mess up any seals. But let me show you right here. Look at that hole on that solenoid. I already took it off, obviously, and look what it did to my batteries, my brand new batteries. I should be able to clean that up, but I left that black stain on it or whatever. Hopefully I can take it off. So yeah, look at that hole right there. So I'm gonna replace it. I do have 2 new solenoids. I do want to replace all of them, but the place that I went to only had 2 available. So I'm just gonna replace that bad one, and then we're gonna try it out. Hopefully I can lock it up, and we'll see how it goes. I want to test drive it. Let's go. Well, YouTube, I replaced that solenoid. You see all that smoke? I blew another one. So I gotta trust my instincts. I wanted to replace all 3, and I only replaced the one that was bad. But look at this one right here. Blew right through it. You see that? Right there. I'm not gonna touch it. It's probably hot as hell too. I'm messing up my batteries. But yeah. So I'm gonna wait till I get the rest of them, because that one blew, so it's going one by one. One thing that I did was that I sanded the base of where they sit to get a better ground. So yeah, it is what it is. Like I said, I only have 2 of these solenoids, so I'll replace the other one, and then whoever has some in stock, I'll probably get some extra ones too. Alright, so this is what I ended up doing. I ended up hooking up the 2 new solenoids to the front pump, and I hooked up the batteries up to 48 volts. So I brought it down from 72 volts to 48 volts, because I am only using 2 solenoids, and it's supposed to be 2 batteries per solenoid. So for now, as long as it goes up and down for me, I'm good with that. I mean, it's not gonna be as fast as 72 volts, but I gotta source another solenoid there to make sure I replace that. I do want to replace the ones in the back too, but I mean, it is what it is. That part's done. It's working up and down at least. And then yeah, so the hoses are on there. Everything's on there nice. It's working fine. I am gonna test drive it right now off camera, just to make sure that it's stopping correctly. Like I said, I bled the brakes and they're ready to go. So I have the part numbers of everything that I use to upgrade these brake lines or brake hoses. I left them. I'm gonna leave them in my description so you guys can check them out. Hopefully it helps somebody out that wants to do the same thing that I just did to mine, and you guys get to see, you know, what the results are. Everything's working fine. Another thing is, if you don't follow me on Instagram, go ahead and hit that follow on Instagram, because I do like to post on a daily, either on my story or my feed, you know, to pretty much show what I'm doing in my garage here with the Monte or the Regal or whatever it has to do with cars. It's still standing garage, right? So hit that follow on there, and then let's keep it moving from here. Let's go.